Hello everyone and welcome to formatting a cover letter. So this short video is going to just take you through the step-by-step process of creating a simple yet effective cover letter. Now if you've watched the resume video already, I'm going to do this the same way. We're going to be using Google Docs as our word processor. Okay, again, Google Docs is an internet-based application. And we're going to be using this just in case you don't have Microsoft Office installed at home and you can't use Word. We're going to use Google Docs instead. Okay, and all you need is a web browser and an internet connection. And again, you do need a Gmail account to access these Google applications. So if you don't have one, you will have to create one first. So I'm on the Google.com homepage here. I'm going to go to the top right, and this little menu here with the little squares, that is my menu for apps. So I'm going to click on that, and again, here's the Gmail application or Gmail website. So if you need to create a Gmail account, which is what you need to access Google Docs, you'll do that first. So just click here and follow the steps to create a Gmail email account. Okay, once that's done, I can scroll down here and I go back to the Docs application right here. I'm going to click on this and launch Google Docs. Now I need to just sign into my Gmail account, so I'm going to click here. There's my username or my email address, and I'll type in my password here. Click next. I'm going to click don't save here, and again, if you've taken Word with me in the computer classes at the library, some of this might look very familiar to you. Okay, so we come to a templates page, but we're going to be building a cover letter from scratch, so we're going to go right here to where it says blank and click on that and launch a blank Google document. All right, and here we are on our Google Docs screen. All right, so just like with the resume, before I start typing, I'm just going to get my layout set up. Okay, and these were some things that were addressed in the other cover letter PowerPoint video that you may have watched already. So first thing I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to type is that contact information in the header. Now, again, and I stressed this before, you want to make sure it matches the header that's in the resume. Okay, it just looks a lot better if the header is the exact same on both documents. Okay, it looks much more professional. So, since it was 14 on the resume, I'm going to make it 14 here. So I'm going to go to my font size, change that 11 to a 14. Okay, and on the resume, I was using Times New Roman as my font type, so I'm going to change that here as well. So I'm clicking on the drop down, changing it to Times New Roman. Okay, and I want to make sure that the line spacing is single because I want complete control over the spacing between things. Okay, so I'm going to click on the line spacing button right here in the toolbar, and I'm just going to change it to single. Okay, and remember that with Google Docs, there's no space between paragraphs as a default, so we don't need to change that. Okay, only the line spacing itself. So that's been changed to single. And last but not least, the margins should already be set to 1 inch, but just to make sure, I'm going to go to the File menu here, click on it, go to Page Setup, and then on the right side here, I see each margin is, of course, 1, 1, 1, 1, so I'm all set. Now remember, if you need to, you can go down as low as 0.5, but only on the left and right. Okay, you don't want to mess with the top and bottom, leave those an inch at all times. Now, since this is all set, I'll click OK, and now my document is ready to be filled in. All right, so real quick before I start typing, remember that since this is an internet-based application, it says right here, all changes saved in Drive, so there's no need to manually save this like we have to do in Word. Google's just going to save it for us automatically anytime we make some sort of change. So on that same token, I'm going to go up here to where it says Untitled Document and just rename this to something more specific. So I'm going to click in this box. Okay, and since it's highlighted, I can just type right over it, and I'm just going to type in cover letter sample. I'll press enter, and now that's saved under that name. All right, so now let's return to the work area right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put in that header. Now the last thing I need to do, again, I want to match it to the resume, so I'm just going to go to my alignment here for center, click center, and now my cursor is centered on the page. So I'm going to just type all this in again, just like before. Okay, I'm hitting enter after each part of this. So my name and then my street. I'll press enter for city, state, and zip code. I'll press enter again for my email address. Press enter again for my phone number. And remember, your email address will be hyperlinked. You can just leave that alone. Okay, so there is my header. Okay, all set. So now I want to go down to another line, but actually two more because I want to have a space in between the header and then the next part. So I'm going to hit enter not once but twice. Now a couple of things I need to do here. First of all, I want to return to the left alignment. So I'm going to go up to my alignment options and click left. And now I'm back on the left side. Also, my font size, I want to shrink that down to 12 now because the rest of my document should be between 10 and 12 points. So I'll make it 12 for now. And if I need to shrink it a little bit later, I can do that. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a date here. I'll just put in today's date because remember it's the date that you are, actually putting this cover letter. Well, actually it should be the date that you're submitting the cover letter. So if you've typed this previously, just make sure you update it to show the date that you actually submitted the cover letter. I'll press enter twice because I want a space in between the date and the next section, which will be the company contact information. And of course, this is a made-up store, so all this information is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, now again, I want a space in between this and the next part, so I'll hit enter once and then twice. Now here is where I'll put RE or RE with a colon, and that means regarding or concerning. Okay, this is always nice to have in a cover letter because this is where you can put the position title, and if there's a job code of some kind, you can put that here as well. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. This position is called merchandiser, and then maybe I'll put it in parentheses. Let's just say the job code is something like this. Okay, again, it might look very different depending on the company, or there may be no job code at all. Okay, but if there is, it's always good to include it here. I'll press enter twice to go down to the next section, which will be the address line. So in this case, I'm just going to put Dear Hiring Manager. So remember, and I'm going to put a colon there too. So remember that if you do not know the name of the person who's going to be reading your cover letter and resume, Dear Hiring Manager is perfect. Okay, To Whom It May Concern is a bit outdated. It's not really used anymore. So stick to Dear Hiring Manager. If, however, you know the name of the person that's going to be reading this, include it. Okay, it looks even better if you can determine that information and then just include it here. All right, I'm going to press enter twice again, and then here is where I can finally start the cover letter itself. Now, for the sake of time, I've already typed up some paragraphs. I'm just going to copy and paste them here. Okay. Fact. I'm just going to change something real quick. There we go. It looks like in my copy and paste process, the spacing it was spaced out. So what I did was I just highlighted all that. Okay, and I just went up here to my line spacing and changed it to single. So now, just to make sure everything is still single spaced. Okay, because remember, you can always change things after the fact with a word processor. That's the beauty of using something like this. Okay, so now I'm back to single spaced, and here is my cover letter. Okay, and I have a couple more things I'll add at the end here, but for now, this is what we have. So this is the cover letter itself, and as you can see, as I talked about in the PowerPoint, what we have here are 4 paragraphs, and they're arranged in a certain order. So the first paragraph is my introduction. Okay, so in the introduction, I'm introducing my position, what I'm currently doing, and in this case, in this example, I'm pretending that I'm actually applying for a promotion. Okay, this is a position with the same company, so I'm just saying that I'm an inventory control manager with Big Superstore. As you can see here, that is the that this new position is with the same company. So, but I'm just saying that I currently work for the company, and I just say it's with great interest that I read this career opportunity on the employee website. Again, since this is a position with the same company, presumably I may have found this posted on an employee or staff website, which is what a lot of people deal with nowadays. If it was on just the regular company website, I could say that here. Or if you're using like a search engine like Indeed.com, by all means you can write, I read this career opportunity on Indeed.com. Okay, wherever you find it, it's good to just include that just so they know where you found the job posting. And then after that, I go into just a little more detail, but very succinct, okay? I'm just saying with over 10 years serving a variety of roles in the supermarket industry, it is now my goal to offer my wealth of knowledge and experience toward the continued success of Big Superstore as a merchandiser. So I'm just saying, not only am I currently an inventory control manager, but I have over 10 years experience in a variety of roles in the supermarket industry. So not only have I been working in the supermarket industry for a long time, but I perform many different roles, which is a very desirable quality, right? Because it just shows that I have experience doing different things, okay? So I have a good wide-ranging view of the whole industry and this particular store. And then I finish that off with what I want to do for them, okay? Because again, it's always good to go back to that. Just stress what you want to do for the company. So in this case, I want to offer my wealth of knowledge and experience toward the continued success of Big Superstore as a merchandiser, which is the position I'm applying for. All right, so that introduction is short, sweet, and strong. So now I'm going to move on to the actual body of the cover letter, which is typically 1 to 2 paragraphs. So that's what I have here. Okay, remember that you could do a sort of lead in paragraph and then include a bulleted list of your accomplishments, much like a resume. But in this case, I chose just to have 2 paragraphs, and that works just as well. Okay, so I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but basically what I establish here is just kind of my work history, but the things that are most applicable to this particular job. And again, it's always good to look at the actual job posting, look at exactly what the qualifications are that they're looking for, and use that to match up your experience. Okay, so it's a good way to sort of eliminate the things that don't necessarily apply to this job, and then use the things that do apply. Okay, so you could just kind of take a minute to read through that. Now, one thing I do want to stress about this, a couple things here. First of all, in this first paragraph, I talked about in the resume video, it's always good to use specific examples, results, okay, any results that you reach through a certain type of project or program. So that's what I've included here. It's good to have examples. So I say here that I have also been recognized for my willingness to improve current services. For example, in 2019, I implemented a new forecast-based inventory strategy, which increased the efficiency of our inventory management system. So first of all, this is something that is in my resume. I included something along these lines. However, I didn't just copy and paste. I reworded it to flow nicely with the rest of my cover letter. Okay, so that's key. You can use things from the resume, but don't just copy and paste. Okay, reword it and just make sure it flows nicely, and make sure it's stressing or emphasizing what it is you're trying to say, and of course make sure it's relevant to what you're trying to say. So examples are always good in a cover letter. Take some specific project you did that you're really proud of and throw it in there. Okay, now the second paragraph, I sectioned it into a second paragraph because I kind of shift gears from talking about my work experience to my education experience. So that's why I started a new paragraph. And I'm just talking about how my bachelor's degree has helped me in my job. Okay, so it's good to sort of take your education experience and show how it relates to your work experience. Show the two are connected. Okay, so that's exactly what I did here. Okay, and just as an example, let's say the job posting under qualifications, it said something like must have much experience working with vendors. Okay, so that's why, so maybe here where it says which I demonstrate daily on the sales floor with vendors, that's why I included it here, because I know that that's what they require, and that's what I've done. So I make sure that specific things like that I put in this cover letter. So again, always look at those qualifications on the job posting. That's key. Now, last but not least, after the body of my cover letter here, I come to the final paragraph, which is a conclusion or a concluding paragraph. And here's where you basically just you address why you're applying for this position, or excuse me, why you're sending this cover letter and resume, and that's of course to you want to get an interview. So I've established that here. I'm confident that my experience will grant me an interview, and I look forward to meeting with you. And also, what you want to establish in this concluding paragraph is where your resume is located. So I've just said I've uploaded my resume for your review. So in this case, I'm pretending that I'm on some sort of website where I upload documents from my computer. So that's what I've done. I've uploaded my resume for your review. And then I just add a couple other details. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions. Okay, so you want to just, you kind of want to like leave the door open in a way. You don't want to just make this the final word and then whatever happens, happens. By saying do not hesitate to contact me, you're sort of keeping that conversation going in a way. So they know, like, you know, you're still there. And then thank you for your time and consideration. Okay, just good to say that at the end, just to thank them for, you know, taking the time to read through your cover letter and resume. So now the last two things I need are just some closing details here. So I'm going to press enter twice to go to give myself an empty line, and right here I'll just put in sincerely, comma, press enter twice, and then I'll put in my name. Now, a couple things here. First of all, I went down to a second page. Okay, I definitely want to make sure I get everything onto one page because a cover letter should be one page. Second of all, I did put a space between sincerely and my name because if I wanted to put in a signature, I want to make sure I have enough space to do that. Okay, now I want to get this to one page, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything except the header up there. So everything up to here, up to the date. I'm just going to go up here, change this 12 to an 11, and let's look here. It looks like I am in fact on one page now. Perfect. Okay, remember, sometimes if you still have that second page with nothing on it, just make sure you click on it, hit the backspace a couple times until that second page is gone. Okay, now last but not least, just like I did with the resume, I just want to make sure I save this as a PDF because that's a very stable file type that you can send to prospective employers. And it's a good way to save a file, and it can't be changed, nothing like that. And in fact, a lot of companies will specify that they want it as a PDF. So to do that in Google Docs, I'm simply going to go to File, I'm going to go to Download, and then I'm going to download it as a PDF. So I'll click on PDF here. I'll get this little prompt. Okay. Again, if you click Save File, it should save it to your Downloads folder. Okay. But in this case, I'm just going to click Open because I just want to show you what it looks like. So I'll click Open. I'll click OK. Here's my cover letter sample as a PDF. Okay, it looks the exact same. All the formatting remains. Nothing has changed, and in fact, it can't be changed. And that's the whole reason employers like to have it in this file type. So let me just put this away. Okay, so this demonstration has just covered how to put together a very simple yet effective cover letter, and we used Google Docs. The steps are very much the same in Microsoft Word. So if you want to use Word instead, by all means, do so. And you can still save things as a PDF in Word. Pretty much the same process. You'll go to the File menu. When you go, you'll go to Save As, and then in the Save As screen, just change the file type from Word doc to PDF, and then click Save, and there you have it. Okay, so I hope this helped you put together a effective resume, and thanks for watching, and take care.